Hello friends, Kitty here, and I'd like to start off with an apology to folks who kind of regularly follow my channel, and then I haven't really been putting out the same content that I usually do. Uh, just with stuff that's been happening, I've just felt like tremendously guilty, uh, kind of uh, dedicating my channel to promoting any such thing at this time. Besides just, this case with Nex Benedict has really been bothered me a lot. I received a huge outpouring of comments on my video, and I'm very thankful that it helped a good number of folks at least get some information that they might not have otherwise found. But it was really bothered also by the amount of just very cynical and downright angry comments, which I think really speaks to the spirit of, again, what is wrong here. I'm not really, at this point, the circumstances of which are almost irrelevant. The fact that people can be so cold towards the death of a child is just terrible. So I'm coming back. There's been more updates to the case, and I wanted to share that with y'all. And today there are several vigils taking place for Nex Benedict across the country, and figure why not use such time to bring more exposure and information out there on this story. So kind of one of the first things I really like to bring up, I know I've mentioned this in some of my YouTube community posts, but it seems other folks have missed it. But Nex was indeed confirmed by the family to use they/them pronouns and identify or use the name Nex. So it seems like there's a lot of trolls out there seem to be determined that because of the original reporting on the case, which I noted as being a bit peculiar, they just clung on to that and assumed that, well, anything new must be fake. But that comes from anyone who donated to the GoFundMe would be familiar with the circumstances that the family explained as to why that was. And again, I just ask for folks to give each other a little grace and not really jump on each other so quickly about stuff like that. I definitely want to, I in my last video, I made a point to bring out all the claims and allegations that had been made, and I hope folks can realize that there is a difference between that and just claiming that, oh hey, hate crimes have taken place and you need to do stuff about it. It's just simply relaying information that is out there and folks with any determination could obtain themselves. And a point that I made in my first video has since been clarified a bit more. So there were claims initially that Nex was unable to get to a nurse's office of their own volition or ability, and a video has since come out that seems to suggest that police officers were indeed able to escort Nex to looks like either principal or administration office somewhere in the school. By all accounts, that looks pretty legit. I don't necessarily think that negates the potential of there being concussions or any other thing. That's why we wait on the investigation. But it does sort of clarify that maybe there could be some discrepancy between the story that was relayed by the mother and the story that was relayed by Nex. But once again, you have to consider Nex passed away the very next day. So the mother only had about like 24 hours or so to get this, what details that she could. And you have to cut everyone some slack a little bit on this. And I'm even giving the Kawaso PD a little bit of grace, because they've been pretty forthright with information. If you follow their social media accounts, they are frequently publishing reports. The Owasso PD also recently came out stating that a physical autopsy was completed, but they're still waiting on a toxicology report. There are a lot of trolls and rather cynical people out there trying to claim that there was a drug overdose or suicide or this and that, and we honestly have no idea at this point. I'm a bit surprised if there was a drug overdose. I would presume in a physical autopsy you would still find some physical signs that this person died of toxicity, or like their blood had no oxygen in it. Like, I feel like there would be some indicators in that report to corroborate not just a toxicology. But at this point, the police have released the details of the autopsy report, I'm pretty sure, and so that is pretty helpful. Although at this point, I still feel like we have to wait until the investigation's conclusion to truly get all the verifiable facts that we can about the circumstances of Nex's death. And I think, once again, I should restate that absolutely no official determination has been made as of right now. You can follow the Owasso PD social media accounts, and I'm sure they will relay that as soon as they are able. But currently, they are still investigating and interviewing folks. There might even be there was a search warrant executed for the school, so they are certainly still in the midst of conducting that. And I think it is fairly appropriate to not make any solid conclusions until that point. Next, I'd kind of like to go in detail on the body cam footage that was released by the Owasso PD regarding an officer that interviewed Nex at the hospital immediately following the incident. And I find some kind of, while it is enlightening and I am appreciative that the PD has released this, I think it's not always typical that we see things like this. I feel like the officer in the video is making several conclusions and seems to be giving legal advice in a situation that I don't feel is very appropriate to do so. I'm not a lawyer, but I am pretty familiar with the legal process, and I would have to say that in the United States there is freedom of speech. While you can't just go pour some water on someone, which is the allegation that's been made. Nex poured water on the girls in the bathroom, and the girls retaliated with battery. Where I have an issue with this, however, is in the United States there isn't freedom of speech if you are using hate speech or words and language intentionally used to incite violence. This is a pretty well-established precedent in the United States. It comes into play oftentimes when it comes to racism. So, like, for instance, if you go up to a person and call them a racial slur and they strike you in the face, you can't just immediately claim they committed battery on you, because in some way you aggravated that by inciting violence. So while the officer just kind of dismisses like the whole context and background to that event, I still feel like he was being relatively professional and trying to be helpful to the family. And again, I'm appreciative of the PD that they shared the video to begin with, because they didn't have to. I think it definitely adds interesting context to the story. Clearly, Nex is cognizant and aware enough to recount details, but if you've ever known anyone with concussion or internal brain injury, they don't necessarily exhibit super obvious symptoms. I've had concussions myself, and I'll just pretend to walk it off, but that's actually not necessary. You want attention for that. You want that to be addressed, and it is possible that maybe in this case something just was missed at the hospital or something. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, and I think the last update for now that I want to end with will be the official statement from Nex's family that came through their GoFundMe. I shared this out with a lot of folks, but I think it clears up a lot of things that folks were having issues with in this whole case. And again, once a child has passed away, regardless of the circumstances, I would hope that folks out there have enough humanity to not be a piece of shit about that. So thank you. So from Sue Benedict, the mother of Nex, we at this time are thankful for the ongoing support and did not expect the love from everyone. We are sorry for not using their name correctly, and as parents we were still learning the correct forms. Please do not judge us as Nex was judged. Please do not bully us for our ignorance on the subject. Nex gave us that respect, and we are sorry in our grief that we overlooked them. I lost my child. The headstone will have the correct name of their choice. The rest of monies will go to other children dealing with the right to be who they feel they are. In Nex's name, God bless. And I'm really sorry that upsets you, but get with it. There are several vigils taking place across the country today, and I ask anyone who sees this to take a moment to stop and reflect on their own choices in life and how they choose to present their moral arguments to the public, and especially where those who are younger and might see it. Alright, and with that, rest in power, Nex. Love you all, fam. Bye.